This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
Hey everybody, we are back with the Dollemore Daily Double.
Yes.
I think that's the name we've landed on until we come up with something better.
Well, I didn't know that was the name that we landed on because you hated it until this very moment. So I'm happy to see you like it.
Well, it's not necessarily that I like it. I think it's more that it's stuck in my head. So, anyway, before we get started, we want to give you a very brief update on where I am with my colon cancer surgery that will be taking place on Wednesday, the 19th. And from that point on, I will be in recovery, not on camera. There's a few things we're going to maybe pre-record so you'll see me, but from that point on through the end of the month and maybe into November, this is the lovely, talented, and scholarly face that you will be seeing on YouTube. And that's why we've started doing these shows as a introduction to Brittany Page. If you'd like to, and I would encourage you to do so, it's a much better follow than it is me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, especially since I've been kicked off of TikTok permanently. Follow Brittany Page on Twitter. It is Brittany E. Page on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. That is where you can get updates from her because I will be off the grid, so to speak. I don't know exactly how much, but it will be off ye old grid. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson and his End of Men documentary that really is just Nazi shit. It is goofy and people are making fun of it, but there is real serious implications of this type of thinking and this conspiracy theory catching on. So why don't you tell us, educate us, inform us all, me included, exactly what the hell End of Men is?
Well, it's on Fox Nation, so
you know it's good.
You have to pay extra for it. So it's basically a collection of pseudo-scientific ideas about lower testosterone levels, lower sperm counts,
birth rates.
Tucker Carlson is very concerned about this, obviously, because it's connected to the white replacement theory, and we'll get into that when we talk about the more serious aspect of it. But we wanted to play this mashup from The End of Men featuring the raw egg nationalist who is giving commentary in the background. And I know you're like, wait, what?
You'd better be like, what? Wait, what?
We'll get into it. But the ways that they want to solve these concerns that they have are the bro scientists. The bro scientists are coming in and offering solutions of a raw egg diet, sleeping on the floor, cold showers, and tanning your balls.
They call themselves bro scientists, half jokingly. We met some of them at a ranch outside of Austin, Texas to see what they're doing.
Bro science to me is based on actual published studies, but a lot of it is self-experimentation.
You know, there are very few, if any, peer-reviewed double-blind studies to answer the kind of questions that most bros want to know. So instead, we just have to rely on our own experience. Best response to this is a strong politics of nationalism. The nation is only as strong as the individuals who make it up, and that's where raw eggs come in. Eggs are a superfood, packed with protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, and anabolic cholesterol, the absolute opposite of the disgusting rubbish that the globalists want you to eat. I've tried at various times to sleep on the floor, but it's a bit too much for me. Cold showers are supposed to have various hormonal effects. It's interesting, there's a kind of schism actually on right-wing Twitter about you're either sunning your balls or you're freezing your balls.
My name on Twitter is Benjamin Braddock. I'm a right-wing bro scientist, and yes, I tan my balls.
So, first of all, let's talk a little bit about, very briefly, about the serious nature of this, and that is that we're edging close, a little too close to eugenics. We're certainly in the nationalism category of thinking, and this is Nazi shit. This is blood and soil shit. This is a nation is only as strong as its weakest members, and it is this is brown shirt, Nazi youth nonsense that is being pitched to a vulnerable audience because of the fact that they're so low information. Other than that, there's a lot to laugh at, though. I mean, it's Tucker Carlson, after all.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the important point, is this is very serious. Obviously, someone who's calling themselves the raw egg nationalist is quite laughable, but what you're saying is true, that behind this, the raw egg nationalist has gone on InfoWars to talk about his theories about globalism and diets, including high soy diets that turn people into soy boys. This is all related to soy boys. That was an insult that was popular a few years ago. You haven't really heard that be an insult lately.
I was called soy boy hundreds of times in the comments, along with cuck and a bunch of other shit. It's kind of fallen out of favor, but it seems like it's making a comeback with these knuckleheads.
Yeah, and the raw egg nationalist talks about soy globalism and what globalism wants for you, which is to control you and keep you sick and fat and depressed. And he says, quote, "The best response to this is a strong politics of nationalism. The nation is only as strong as the individuals who make it up. And that's where raw eggs come in." Perfect segue. I know that you were assuming that eggs, that was the natural thing that was
It's gonna play a role somewhere.
It's the natural response. So he goes on to talk about how they're a superfood, and it's not what the globalists want you to eat, because they want you to eat cheap food that is rubbish. So as you can see, the globalists, they want you to take warm showers. They want you to...
Evil warm showers!
They want you to sleep in a bed.
Which means
be comfy.
So by extension, these idiots are sleeping on the floor. They're taking cold showers. They're showering their ball sacks with UV light to tan the skin of their scrotum. You know, real scientific stuff here.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, this is where it's concerning, because you have people who may be watching this, looking for answers, feeling like they're rejected from society. And then they find this, they're like, okay, yeah, I can try this raw egg thing. Maybe I can spend more time in the gym, get stronger, maybe tan my balls. And then it's just a short trip directly to Tucker Carlson's replacement theory, the white supremacist theory of white genocide, where, you know, lower testosterone levels, lower sperm counts, we're headed directly into low birth rate territory, which is directly within the great replacement theory that is touted by white power activists. So this is probably a tool that, honestly, Tucker Carlson is using for recruitment into these larger ideas.
Well, the other thing is that you'll notice in the clip, if you want to rewind and go back to it, a lot of the faces that they're showing are blurred. So this isn't something that they are so freely talking about and touting as beneficial, and they're not proud of their movement. Otherwise, they would show their faces. There is something to be worried about here when the proponents of it won't even allow you to know who they are, what their real names are. It's either because they're ashamed or there's sinister intent that you need to be worried about.
Absolutely.
So the other thing we want to talk about today is Tommy Tuberville, the former Auburn University football coach who spoke at a rally, at a Donald Trump rally this weekend, and went on a racist, white supremacist rant against reparations. And we should just maybe play the clip and then move on, but it is, when people talk about reparations, largely in the lexicon, in the political atmosphere that we live in, they're talking about reparations for Black Americans whose descendants were enslaved by white people in this country. And for him to talk specifically about reparations, first of all, he's going on an insane screed about how Democrats want high crime. They want violent crime. All of it's a little bit much, but he goes on to say that we Democrats, we want to pay reparations because that's who's committing the crime. You don't have to do a lot of calculations in your brain to understand that he's saying Black people commit crimes. They're the danger, and that's who Democrats want to pay reparations to. Let's play the clip and talk about it on the other side.
Some people say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime. They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
The thing that always stands out to me about these clips is the people in the background cheering that just explode with joy and cheer, because they always go to this line, right? They're saying the thing out loud that they're afraid to say.
Yeah.
And I believe we're seeing an illustration of that in the response from the crowd in the background. But also, how many times do these politicians have to say things like this before they're no longer given the benefit of the doubt? I know Maggie Haberman has been making the rounds promoting her new book about Donald Trump, and one of the questions that she sometimes gets asked is, do you believe that Donald Trump is racist? And I heard her say, how many times does he have to say or do something that is racist before we acknowledge that? Now, she didn't come out and say, yes, he's racist. She answered it in that way. But it's true. How many times are these politicians going to behave in a racist way, say racist things, before we acknowledge, yes, this is racism, they're racist?
And let's also, well, first of all, for the record, if you're on the fence about reparations, if you're against reparations, I would urge you to search Dollemore Daily Reparations. I've done 2 separate videos. Watch the most recent one that outlines my position on the justifications for reparations for blacks in this country. But beyond that, think about the maybe hundreds of black families, black parents that gave their children to Tommy Tuberville to be the custodian of their welfare, well-being, and upbringing in college to play football for this man, who holds these pernicious white supremacist ideas about black people in this country. They're the ones committing the crimes, and the Democrats want to give them reparations because they're the ones committing. This is evil, sinister, damaging nonsense that's being spoken out loud at a rally, inciting the hoops and hollers of these low information dregs of our society. And it's dangerous because, like Brittany just said, they're embarrassed to say it out loud. They're not confident to say it out loud. When it is said out loud, they explode in cheering, and it's giving them permission to hold and say these ideas in public. That's leading us down a dangerous, dangerous path along the lines of the Tucker Carlson end of men bullshit.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we'd love to know what you think about this. You can call, leave us a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054.
You can also email us at daily@dollemore.com.
We would love to hear from you. Again, follow Brittany Page, most importantly, on social media. I will be out for the I will be into this next week, but then after that, it'll be through the month. She is Brittany E. Page on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And I'm at Dollemore.
Really selling yourself.
Real creative. So anyway, the other thing is, if you find value in what we do, if you find value from this channel on the various types of content that we create, we would ask that you consider supporting the show. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $1.99 a month, just pennies a day, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That doesn't just support the podcast, it absolutely is one shared pot where the money goes toward all the content that we create. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast that we do. Since the cancer diagnosis, it's not twice a week normally, and it will be back to being twice a week. We've done almost 850 episodes together, so we would invite you to come and take part in that as well. We love you guys. We appreciate you very much. We'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.